Alright, Scary Movie 5 is out of the way, so let's talk about the movie about the guy who did a little thing like change the game of baseball. 42. So 42 is the movie about Jackie Robinson. 42 is his number, the number's retired, no one shall wear it again. And Jackie Robinson was the first African American to play Major League Baseball, which is really impressive. Usually in a story like this, it's like, oh, it's integration and people have a problem with that, and I did, this is the way it was. But it's after the first guy actually did it, this was the guy. Yeah, there's a little bit of friction he runs into in that. And from there, we see the story. This is the story of that. Now, the guy that got to play Jackie Robinson does a really good job. He has this young Wesley Snipes quality to him. He does a really good job at Jackie Robinson. You really get a feeling of Jackie Robinson, he was a good guy. He didn't like bullshit, he stood up to people, he had attitude when people would come at him with racism and shit like that. And one of his big struggles in this movie is that he can't lose his shit. Harrison Ford, the one who's like, I'm gonna get a black guy into baseball. That's how he sounds at this point, kind of. He's gonna make the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. But he was like, you can't fight people. If you let them win like that, then they win. They're not gonna be like, oh, he was provoked. So be like, oh, black dude lost his shit. He needs to be cut from the team and cut from the sport entirely. He was like, channel that, beat them on the field. That's where you'll win. So I like seeing that. I love it when people are like, all right, I'm not gonna fight you here. We're gonna fight on the field. And that field, no matter where it is going to be my home turf. Your ass belongs to me. And the supporting cast was really good. Harrison Ford was great. If this movie had come out in November or December, there would be chatter about Harrison Ford possibly getting an Oscar nomination for his role in this movie. I don't know if it would happen, but there would be talk about it. Christopher Maloney, that guy I call the other Elias Koteas because he reminds me of Elias Koteas. He was awesome in this movie. He has a couple of great scenes. He has this one scene in the locker room where he gives a speech where he's like, deal with this shit. I was like, look at Koteas, but not Koteas. Alan Tudyk's in the movie for one scene and Alan Tudyk puts the dick in Tudyk. This dude is just badgering Jackie Robinson in that Django Unchained kind of vernacular. Wash! Why? But he plays it up. Everyone in this movie, the supporting cast, really does their job well. A couple of gripes I did have in the movie is when the shit really gets real, you know, conflict is really happening because there's gonna be conflict in a movie like this. No one really loses their shit. They're always like, you're a redneck piece of trash. I don't buy it. I don't buy that someone would just remain so rated G or PG. You want to appeal to all ages. You want families to be able to watch this movie. I think families would still watch this movie if you let a character really lose his shit in a moment like that, where it's like, nah, I gotta cut this off right here. It's one of those examples of a moment where harsh language in a movie really lets you know that the character has had enough. Another thing is they build up the fact that the baseball field is where Jackie Robinson's gonna beat these people. And as cool as the baseball scenes were, and you're like, yeah, dude's good. I wish there was more baseball. The movie could have been a half an hour longer, in which that half an hour could have been filled with baseball scenes, and the movie would have been awesome. Example, the last scene in the movie, not gonna spoil it for you, but the last scene, of course, is gonna be a baseball scene. But it's not a game. It's just one scene in which he is already up to bat. He just has to hit this ball once. Doesn't take long, and then the movie ends, and you're like, I wish they had a whole game for the end of the movie. Other than a couple of gripes like that, I had a really good time with the movie. The script was light in some parts. It did the drama really well. It did conflict really well. Although I wish the conflict had some more realistic moments in terms of language. But there are a couple of scenes where you're like, this tension's getting thick, and that's good for a movie like this. I would say 42 is a good movie for families to watch. I will say it's a good time, no alcohol required. It's a good story about Jackie Robinson's life. When you come out of this movie, you immediately Google his name. You just want to know so much more about Jackie Robinson, and a movie like this should make you do that. First, have you seen 42, and what did you think of it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.